Hey everyone, chances are you've run into this at least once in your life. You're dealing with a traditional mechanical lock, the kind with pins and a metal key, and somehow that key is nowhere to be found. You stand there, staring at it, maybe give it a shake, maybe try another random key hoping for a miracle, but nothing works. What should be a simple moment suddenly turns into a real hassle. A small, solid piece of metal ends up stopping your whole plan, and you're left wondering what to do next without making things worse. But if you've ever been stuck in that exact situation, don't worry. I've got an idea that can help you handle a mechanical lock like this more calmly and effectively. Let's take a look together. Here I've got a plastic box filled with old AA batteries that have completely run out of power. I'm going to pick the largest one and reuse its outer metal shell to make a simple lock opening tool. The process is actually quite straightforward. All it takes is a steady hand and a few basic tools. A pair of cutting pliers, some scissors, a marker, and a round metal object with roughly the same diameter as the lock shackle to help shape the piece properly. As it turns out, the round shank on the lower part of this drill bit I'm holding happens to match the diameter of the lock's shackle quite closely. That makes it a handy little reference for shaping the piece accurately. It's a simple trick, but it helps you get the form right from the start, making the testing step later on much smoother. Alright, so now we've finished making a simple tool that can help with a mechanical lock in an emergency. From here, just follow my hand movements on the screen step by step so you don't end up fumbling around or wasting time figuring it out. As you can see, this is actually quite easy to do. I'll go through it 2 more times a bit more carefully so you can follow along and catch every detail. That wraps up the opening tip for this simple lock opening tool tutorial. If you found it useful and think others could benefit from it too, take a quick moment to give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss more practical tips like this. Alright, let's move on to the final trick and see what we can do next. Moving on to tip number 2, I'm going to make a homemade antenna using a key. Sounds a bit unusual, doesn't it? To get started with the first step, I'll prepare one more key so we have everything ready to work with. I'm going to use these 2 keys as signal receivers, almost like a router, to help pick up broadcast waves for the antenna setup. Next, I've got 2 bolts, 2 nuts, and 4 metal washers. These parts may look simple, but each one plays a clear role. The bolts act as the main shaft to hold everything together, the nuts tighten and lock the structure in place, and the washers help spread the pressure evenly so the connection stays firm without damaging the surface. I'll use this whole set as a solid link to connect the signal receivers to the main body of the device. Here I have a 1 to 2 signal splitter, and I'm going to use it as the main body of this antenna setup. What makes this piece especially convenient is how it neatly combines and directs signals without needing extra complex parts. The 2 input ends connect directly to the receiver section, allowing signals to be gathered from both sides at the same time. Then, everything is funneled through a single output port, which links to the transmission side of the device. This setup keeps things compact, reduces wiring hassle, and makes the whole system easier to assemble and manage. Next, I've got a length of coaxial cable, and I'm going to use it as the signal transmission part of this setup. This type of cable is built with a central conductor, an insulating layer, and a shielding layer on the outside, which helps keep the signal stable and protected from interference. Thanks to that structure, it can carry signals over a distance with minimal loss, keeping the connection clear and consistent. Using it here makes the whole system more reliable and helps ensure that the signal picked up by the antenna is delivered efficiently to the device. With this F-type connector, I'm going to attach it to the end of the coaxial cable so it's ready to connect neatly to the remaining port on the signal splitter. Using this connector makes the connection more secure and much easier to install, without having to improvise or deal with loose contact. On the other end of the cable, besides installing a standard F connector, I'll also add a 90-degree F connector. This angled piece makes it much easier to connect to the TV, especially in tight spaces or when the port is hard to reach, helping the cable sit more naturally without bending or putting stress on the connection. Before starting the connection, I'll check the TV first to show you that it's currently displaying no signal. This way, everything is clear from the beginning and you can see the actual result without any doubt or confusion. And that's it. From a few simple everyday items, we've put together a working antenna step by step. Nothing complicated here, just a bit of patience and a steady hand. Sometimes it's not about having the perfect tool, but knowing how to use what you already have. Give it a try, adjust it to your setup and see what works best for you. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy practical ideas like this, stay tuned, there's always another useful trick coming up.